up, guys? Welcome back to Sports Shack. This is episode 3. I'm Matt and my co-host Mo.
Hello, here again.
And on my left, I've got one of the South Africa's best surfers from back in the day and still one of the prolific surfers around today, and also CEO or director, should I say?
No, I'm one of the directors, but I'm not the founder, but my title is operations manager.
Operations manager of Litterboom Foundation, which is a cleanup service of all the oceans and the seas, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, Josh, we're just going to run through some history here. We're going to go back to some when you were 14 or 13. What got you into surfing, bro?
I suppose family. My dad surfed, my brother surfed, so it was a natural migration. I started surfing when I was 6. So
Jeepers.
It's always been a part of my life. I can't remember much before.
Yeah.
So it always being a part of your life, what made you feel comfortable in the deep waters?
Well, I guess when you do something from so young, it's just second nature.
Was it not scary?
Nah.
Well, if you can't swim, yeah, sure.
Definitely, I was going to get there.
The direction I went, surfing bigger waves, there's a lot of fear involved there, but it's kind of the part where you go through the fear and what's on the other side is the exciting part, I guess.
See, the other side is what's also scary because now what's there? What is there?
Just being in the water since I was so young, and I was super comfortable with it. So, I always wanted to push what I could do. So just from surfing normal waves to surfing bigger waves was just kind of pushing to my limits, I guess.
That's good.
So keeping your fitness up on a daily basis, I mean, we've all had, I've surfed with you when we were younger. I've surfed with quite a few, Ricky Basnets and the boys, and your brother, and, what about Geordie Smith and yourselves? How's that relationship? You guys still in touch?
Yeah, we still chat quite a bit. Just from about 8 years old, we were competing against each other.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy to watch how he's kind of evolved to one of the best in the world. So. But yeah, we still keep in touch.
And your competition surfing still happening?
Nah, that fizzled out quite soon after my junior career. I surfed a lot of events, and then I did the tour for 1 or 2 years. Didn't really get too many results there, and I wasn't really enjoying it. So it was kind of struggle on the tour, or go just use those trips and use that time to go chase waves and get waves that I was really kind of enjoying.
So it's the first time I'm hearing touring in surfing, right?
Yeah.
And then I want to bring it back to the fact that surfing in South Africa is something that we don't really look at much. So how was it being in surfing? Yes, it was from a childhood, but looking at how it is in SA and how you would like it to be.
It's not kind of one of those sports that are super recognized. So like if you take Australia or Brazil or any of these other countries, they've got like training institutes and all these kind of foundations for surfing to kind of raise the younger guys up, and we don't have that in this country. I suppose the surfing population is so small compared to...
And we're scared of water.
Yeah. So if you look at soccer or any of the other mainstream sports, it's a very small kind of group of people that surf. It's growing actually, especially in the African communities.
Dude, there's a lot of street kids. Well, it's not a foundation called not a street kid. Well,
Surfers Street Children. It's been amazing to watch that grow on the Durban beachfront where I grew up.
Yes.
You see the African surfers that have come up there. There's a few guys that are really, really good, and they are kind of...
Well, one of the guys just turned wild card now, from one of the street surfers. He's just on CT.
One of the guys has kind of stepped it up and taken it kind of on tour. If you go down to Newpier on any given day and you see a group of young guys that are surfing there and ripping, like little groms like this, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah,
so there's definitely good signs, but kind of the surf industry in, I'd say the 2000s, early 2000s, it was booming. Yeah, there was a lot of money in surfing. There's a lot more money to be made than there is now. The industry's not doing quite what it used to. And for us, we had a junior series, which there were like compos like every weekend, every couple of weekends during the season. And now there's not nearly as much. So that lays the foundation for kids to kind of get their competitive strategy and the rest of it surfing the tour here. And it's not as much as it used to be, but I think it's coming back.
On the note of you thinking it's coming back and how you have continued to mention that it's not as active as it was before, looking at it now, what are some of the reasons you would think of when it comes to why it's not that active?
Money.
And
Money. Yeah, to the answer, money.
It's
Definitely
like,
money.
If a company is going to put money into something, how do they get their return on it? And I think just clothing sales and that kind of thing is what pumps money back into the industry. And it's just like if you take a lot of these big surf brands that used to like own it outside of surfing, it's not as cool anymore. Like so many surfers will go buy a shirt from Cotton On or somewhere else that's just like kind of more plain clothing. Surfing kind of lost its edge there. So
the big brands are dying out. Yeah.
So it all comes down to product sale, you know.
It's such a pity though, because Gunston 500 was like prolific, you know.
Yeah, and that brought so much.
I mean, we even had Slater and the boys down here.
It's like tourism, like was buzzing because of what surfing brought to Durban.
Yes.
Durban's kind of lost that as the surf city, and Belito's got the Belito Pro now.
Yeah.
Durban lost that, but yeah, that's another whole conversation. But
I mean, I'm still a Quicksilver fan, so that still stands for something. That still stands for something, yeah.
So you reckon that the sponsorships is the biggest problem nowadays, to get surfers out there?
Yeah, the companies don't have the money that they used to. Like,
things aren't as cheap.
So their marketing budgets are smaller, and that's where these competitions will come out of. So it's just a bit of a.
I mean, is it really the fact that their marketing budget is smaller, or it's because of what was mentioned earlier about the return not being as big as it was before? Because from what I've seen, the marketing budget is quite stretched out at some of the companies that could still go into surfing.
Yeah, definitely. There are some big brands out there that could filter in.
Yeah, but there are also like non-surf brands that are kind of starting to get into supporting surfing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
there are a few guys.
Like there's some competitions that are sponsored by like Toyota, and like there's some other like non-surf industry brands that are getting involved.
So let's talk about your mindset when it came to competition surfing big waves. I mean, at 13 or 14 to charge Jaws, what was going through your head, bro?
Well, let's just correct that.
How old were you when you actually surfed Jaws?
Jaws was kind of
your
a lot
first
later
time
in life. So that was where I surfed when I was 14 was Dungeons.
Dungeons, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of always attracted to surfing something bigger, you know. Even surfing Nupa at like 8 foot when we were, I don't know, 13.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, hey, what can I do? How much more can I do, you know? And I just ended up in Cape Town. A friend of mine was surfing in the Red Bull Big Wave Africa event there. And I ended up going down with them, and they have like practice sessions if the waves aren't big enough for the actual event. The guys will all go out, and I just ended up on the boat, and I just went for it. I had like quite a few kind of guys around me that I
coach you into it.
Like mentored me out there. So that was kind of the taste for it.
But no board of your own. I mean, you were just borrowing equipment
I
now.
borrowed everything, except my wetsuit, obviously.
Yeah.
It needs to be my size. But the board was, the guy that I was with, John Whittle, he had like a quiver of 10 foot, 9 foot.
Jeez, everything you could think of.
But his 7 foot board, that's like, you don't, like when you surf bigger waves.
7 foot's a bit small, dude,
7 foot's very small, but I was very small. So that was a big board for me. That was my kind of first taste, and I didn't actually surf anything bigger like in that kind of range until I was like maybe 16 again. It was because like you need to chase those swells. You need to So I was off doing junior comps, and like when the swell came, I didn't even know about it. And it was all about timing if I was kind of in town at the time.
And big waves in Durban. I mean, there's not much really to surf. You've got Scotborough, you've got Bluff.
Durban doesn't handle big swell like
in
actual big wave terms. If it gets over 8 foot, it starts to get a bit washed out. And
you can't get out.
Yeah, 8 foot is good for Durban.
Yeah, solid.
Anything outside of that, Cape Town's kind of the only real big wave kind of location that we have in South Africa. But
isn't it cold? That water's always cold.
That water's freezing.
Yeah. You wear a lot of rubber.
A lot of rubber. I bet you do.
So But we are very lucky to have these. They premier big wave spots that we've got at our disposal. Yeah.
And how did Hawaii treat you, bro?
Yeah,
Old
so
pipeline.
I spent a lot of time there. I was lucky to be sponsored by Volcom at the time when I was spending a lot of time there. They've got their Volcom house on pipeline, so I was right in the mix there, and I had some really good times.
You must have met some incredible surfers in that time, man.
Yeah, you meet the best of the best there, and you get to rub shoulders with all those guys. So
that's phenomenal.
It was a really good experience.
A normal day of training for a surfer.
Yeah.
I know water's involved, you go on the board, but what does it look like besides what we actually see during a competition?
Well, the main thing is surfing. Like most guys don't do a lot of cross training outside of it. It's become more popular now. Guys are doing kind of a bit more core strength and strength building. It wasn't really...
It was never a thing. You just got on the water.
Back then. It was just surf as much as you can.
Yeah.
So now the guys are getting quite professional about it.
Into it.
Like now you see before...
Calisthenics and stuff before it,
Before contest now they've got a stationary bike in the bigger comps. They've got a stationary bike in the contest tower. The guys are warming up. You see them doing their band walks. And So it's got a lot more professional since I was in the game there.
But the things guys are doing on boards today is ridiculous, bro.
I can't say I do any surf specific training. I like to train a lot, but I just try to keep in shape really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you're definitely still in shape, brother.
Well, we can definitely see that. So you did say that you don't surf a lot lately. Why is that?
Because I've got heavily time-consuming work that I do. It's pretty, it's quite consuming.
Let's dive into that, brother. What has got your attention nowadays?
Yeah, so I mean, the migration for me was, I wasn't making a good living from surfing. I was still sponsored and still had a bit of a travel budget, still holding on to the dream a bit, getting to do some travel. But I kind of knew I wasn't making a living, so I started a bakery, and that was kind of, I had a bit of control because it was my business and I had a partner, so I could still do some travel and whatnot. And then we went through COVID, and COVID kind of crushed us a bit. But then, while in the period of this, a friend of mine had founded the Litterboom project, and I got chatting to him, and he was told me about what he's doing, this and that, and I was like,
see where it goes.
If there's any way I can get involved and help out, let me know. So he did call me up and say, listen, we've got to formalize this thing as a non-profit. Need a board of directors. Do you want to sit on the board? And that was kind of my introduction to that. And then while COVID killed the bakery a bit, it's still running to this day. It hasn't died, but it was a little bit hard to pull a proper salary.
Yeah.
And then Cameron, who's my boss at Litterboom there, he needed some help. He was he needed some help managing the team. So I was like, okay, well, I'll work for Litterboom for a couple of days a week, work for the bakery a couple of days a week. And I did that for about 6 months, I think, maybe even close to a year. But then it started snowballing, and the project started growing quite rapidly. So I had no time for the bakery, and then I went full time into Litterboom project.
So now what's happening with that bakery now? Is that just
no, it's still running. My brother-in-law is my partner there.
Okay.
And he's running the bakery, and it's still going nicely. And I kind of thought I would have a little bit of time to do both. But he's kind of just steered the ship there because I've had no time for it.
So does this mean we're getting cake?
No cake?
I didn't want to...
He doesn't eat cake anymore.
Because I did forget.
So now the Litterboom, what is your entire involvement with all of that?
So my kind of core role in the beginning was to manage the teams, and kind of manage the operations. So just to start from the beginning, the Litterboom project it's a boom. That's where the name came from. We put a plastic pipe across the river, and whatever floating plastic comes down catches there, and we've got permanent teams that man those booms. But now we've grown so fast out of that. We've always known that picking up plastic in the rivers is not the solution, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
That's not the end goal. Yeah, we want to actually
Extrapolate as much as you can.
Yeah, we want to stop it from getting into the rivers, so that we don't actually have to work in the rivers one day, and the rivers are clean. You know, we're a long way off that, but so we started kind of focusing more on our land-based programs. So interception is the booms, and another element of interception is working with waste reclaimers, the guys that collect plastic to sell for recycling. So we actually buy it from them, then we go sell it to the recycler.
Ah, interesting.
I mean, it's nothing new, recycling game, but it's not enough. Not enough of it happening.
Yes.
And there's so much opportunity for people to make a living, put bread on the table. They just can't get it to the recycler, you know. So we've got a truck that services our river teams. So we plug in reclaimers in the areas that we're working in, and we just offer them a source of income, you know. So
yes, carry on. Sorry about that.
I was just gonna go and just tell you like the whole.
Go nuts. Let's hear it. Go for it. Let's just tell us everything that you do.
That's kind of the interception part. The innovation part is we've kind of started this program called Wastepreneur Training, where we teach guys how to take plastic. We teach them how to use the machinery to take plastic and turn it into products, so that now some of this waste is being turned into a valuable item, and we're starting to train these guys up to upskill them to be able to kind of run a little production business. You know?
Okay.
So we did one round of this training. It was successful, and then we've kind of got the funding to open up our own training space, which we've just started this week actually.
Just to jump into the funding, how are you actually getting most of your funding? Is it through corporates?
Yeah, it's all corporate funding.
All corporate funding.
Nothing coming from municipality or government.
Well, yeah, we kind of figured as much.
No comment.
Yeah, so it's all corporate funding. Parlay is the main funder, and they're American kind of environmental.
Oh, so you're actually reaching out overseas, international.
They were the guys that got us off the ground.
Yeah.
So they fund a majority of the project still, or maybe half the project, but then the rest comes from local corporate funding.
So how does the conversation go when you approach a corporate business for them to actually take part in something like Litterboom?
Well, I mean, a lot of the time, people come to us and say, how can we get involved?
Is it?
Yeah, and then depends on what kind of part of the project they want to fund. We'll put a proposal together to say, if you fund this much, this is what it will create or whatever. You know? So some people they say they want to fund a river team, Litterboom team, and we'll give them the costing for that. And
what does something like that cost? In just give me a broad number here. What does something like a Litterboom fence cost?
A Litterboom team for the year with the setup and everything is like 200K. Yeah.
Just for the year, and that's to pay salaries and wages and all the rest.
There's a portion of it that goes to the setup, and a little portion to management, but most of it goes to just the wages for the year. You know? So like, we pitched it to someone once before, and they were like, "Just for 200 grand to put a pipe in the river, like, well, who's gonna flipping service the pipe? Who's gonna send their truck to remove that waste? Where's that waste going? Like, there's a whole bunch of like background things that people don't think of. It's like there's a lot of wheels turning to keep this project going, and at the moment we've got 65 staff across SA, like between Durban, Pietermaritzburg, and Cape Town. Like,
geez, you really have grown since the last conversation.
There's a lot going on. Like, it's a big animal, this thing. And
so, I mean, return on investment. I mean, that's a lot of self-sacrifice you're talking about, I mean, just to even earn a salary for yourself and provide for others. I mean, you're not just creating job for yourself; you're actually giving jobs to other people.
Yeah. So the space we work in is it's a tough space, you know. Like dealing with waste and dealing with rubbish in rivers, and like when we have big rains, we put teams on the beaches.
I can imagine what that looks like.
We're just chasing it the whole time. But then when you look at the opportunities that we're creating, like with the recycling and with these wastepreneurs, and all these kind of other things, that's where there's a bit of positive that like feeds back, because like it's a tough space. So I just kind of focus on those opportunities and focus what we are doing, not like it's still but fuck.
Yes,
There's still rubbish everywhere. Like clean it up next day.
Well, let's be honest. The beaches are pretty fucked in Durban.
No,
they are.
They're properly.
And
I mean, from what they were.
For quite a while, they just keep on getting worse.
Then we like put like teams on for like a month, and we clean up this stretch, and then
shit's just back.
And then there's another big rain, and it happens again. But like, I've gone a bit numb to it, to be honest.
And
then I go into a community and see how they've or dumping their rubbish into the river.
No way.
And you can't really blame them because
what are they meant to do?
They're not getting serviced, you know. So like we're trying to create value for the waste so that people aren't throwing it away.
Yes.
It's not a piece of waste. It's maybe a valuable resource.
Well, I've seen these guys that collect the cardboard boxes, and you get guys that collect cans and stuff like that. Are you plugging yourself into that?
Yeah, we have
can
like
get help?
we're more plastic focused because that's what's the problem in the rivers. Like those are like quite valuable items that can, so they're kind of highly sought after, you know.
Okay.
All the plastic waste, like someone has to go collect quite a bit of plastic. To get like put bread on the table, you know. So, but there are guys out there that are willing to work.
Yeah, it'd be desperation causes.
So how does going out to different communities then become either a struggle or an advantage for a business like this? Because we know a lot of people who may not know about plastic recycling or getting it to be a product that can be used again. Yeah. How is the education important? So it goes out to communities that, hey, there are companies that are available for you to give in your plastic.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you have to kind of choose the direct channel to get to the right people. Mm-hmm. And then once you've got a bit of a team there, then you can start like networking in that community and start to spread the message a bit. So yeah, I mean, we have constant issues in communities where you hire someone and then other guys are a bit
politics,
sounding
politics.
No one else is getting hired. Yeah, but I mean, it's not there's no fast track to it, you know. So we're slowly trying to kind of create these opportunities. We also we're not a big enough organization to go out there and offer this opportunity to everyone. So we're also trying to grow as like organically and slowly as we need to keep up with it, which is not actually the case at the moment. We're kind of like, there's a lot going on. It's kind of like a business that's about to like blow up, and you're just doing so much to try to get it to that level. Because it's pretty much myself and Cameron. We run this whole project, and we both like.
You guys sleep at all? I mean, do you have time to even surf anymore?
This is why I don't surf that much anymore. But I mean, we've grown the project to this size, and we're very close to turning it into what we want to turn it into. Mm-hmm. That's
so when you say that, like, how far off are you in terms of your goal for the year?
Wow, I think we've done well to get to our goals, you know. But it's just all about funding. We just need.
So who does the outreach programs in terms of bringing in finances and stuff? Is that just
Cameron's the guy?
Cameron's the guy. So he's
he did say he's behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah.
So that could be in a very broad spectrum, eh?
I mean, I obviously have these kind of conversations, but Cameron's very much the business mind. There's a proposal we need to put together. I try to help him put a kind of piece, like figures and this and that together, but he's the one who really puts the business structure to that proposal. So, I mean, it's his project. He started it in 2017.
As much as it's his, I'm sure it's as much as yours.
No, for sure. It's definitely become. I definitely become a part of it. It's become.
You still find it a passion, or you kind of have days where you just fight with yourself as to why you do this?
It's not why I do it, but I have these. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like I got 65 staff, and everyone. Yeah. I'm the one they all come to, especially when there's a problem. Yeah. Literally, my phone just
doesn't stop.
It's like a flipping song. It's just ding, 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 ding. It's like I've got for all of my teams, I've got a group, a WhatsApp group. Then like for other like parts of the project, we've got a WhatsApp group. And then there's those coming to me directly. It's insane. I do want to throw my phone away.
No, well, don't do that. We still need you, please.
Yeah, dude.
But that's why, like, we have a team that'll kind of be able to deal with all of this. We're just not there yet. Like, our project's growing, and we just need to like fill it in with the.
Well, I spoke to you about 2 years ago when I saw you out, and I mean, it sounds like you've doubled in size already.
We definitely have, and we're not slowing the momentum down. We're like pushing hard to.
So when you talk about rivers, are you talking about throughout the whole of KZN? I mean, where do you operate? What spaces?
Yeah, I mean the Ashanga River is furthest north at the moment. and the Mlazi River furthest.
Okay, further south. Yeah.
And then the upper Umgani in Peter Marisburg.
Okay. Oh, you're all the way up there.
Yeah,
Wow.
we just got one team there. But then in Cape Town, we've got a solid little team going there.
Oh wow, you that side as well, eh? Gee,
That's actually dope.
Yeah,
in Cape Town, we started there 3 years ago.
And the DA is not funding you?
Not DA, but we have got some.
You would think they would. Bunch of pricks.
We've got some sort of collaboration with the city there. So we got a MOA with the city of Cape Town.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't offer us funding or anything, but they offer us a bit of infrastructure support. Like they'll do our removals and.
Oh, so they'll actually come in and help assist with that type of thing.
With the removal of the bags.
Oh, gee.
The bags that we collect. So it's a small something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get a little bit of support from the Parks Department when we're cleaning on the beaches. But most of it's removed by our truck here. So.
And how many trucks? You got one truck?
One truck, bro.
That operates everywhere.
If you got
How are you managing with one?
No, it's a struggle. Like that's the thing. Like we've committed to a lot of these waste reclaimers, and we're trying to service them. But this truck's it's beat up and it's old. And it's I'm like a mechanic now as well because I'm constantly breaking down. And I'm like, I know all these cables and the accelerators and that, and like it snaps, and then I'm running out there, and I'm like, I'm a bit of a mechanic now. Don't bring a car to me, but
I was about to say I might as well just come.
But this is just like the kind of issues we're facing. Like we just there's a few loose ends that we need to tighten up, and the truck is one of them.
So what is your kind of idea for going forward in the next couple months in terms of growing to the next step, the next phase?
Making more money.
Yeah, and know because you're kind of reliant on income from other individuals.
Yeah. So another element which we've added, which we like really hoping is going to be kind of powerful, is the buyback centers in the community. So we've opened up one in Blackburn community. Okay. It's not our buyback center. So we've got a few community members on board, and they've opened up a non-profit to run a buyback center. So these little centers are going to help us kind of have these little collection centers. So we won't be running too much with our truck. Like if we can plug the hole there, okay, this community is collecting their waste there, we plug a recycler into that, then that's kind of running itself, So that will take the pressure off us. That's kind of the model that we want to
implement.
So we're setting up all these collection centers around. We're very far off because we've only got one, but that's kind of the direction we're going at the moment.
Well, it's a good start.
Yeah,
it is a very good start. So I want us to dive in. Excuse the pun. But you went in from surfing, then there was the bakery involved, and now you're in operations. How have each of those roles in the different industries impacted you as a person? Because it's a lot to change from the bakery to then
going from a surfer to
and then
bakery to
I think the surfing and the environmental part.
That works.
Okay, so that's where that passion.
In some way.
The bakery, because I did a culinary course kind of towards the end of my career, surfing career, I was like, okay, I kind of enjoy that. So what's going to happen after surfing? So I did that. So that's where that connected, but that hasn't really affected where I'm at now,
Yeah.
Besides like hustling and learning how to deal with stuff, running our own business. I learned a lot from that, but I didn't learn anything from baking brownies to...
baking brownies.
But also, like, you think environmental work sounds kind of glamorous, but it's actually not.
It sounds like a shit show that is a never-ending story.
Yeah. But I mean, like, ocean conservation, cool.
Yeah, dude.
It's tough work, but I mean...
I see these other projects overseas, international, where they're picking up lots of, they've got these huge machines out in the water.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that being a viable thing here?
No, we don't see that. Well, I mean, it would be great to have that, but just think how much money it costs to put that ship in the ocean.
And run 24/7.
You're putting millions into that. We see that, what we could do on land with that, and try actually solve the problem. That's just putting a Band-Aid on it,
Yeah, you want to kind of stop that from filtering.
Like what we could do with 2 million rand on land, the opportunities we could create that would be sustainable, which would carry on,
Yes.
Like the buyback centers, that's something that we want to help set up.
Yes.
And have a period where we help them manage it, but then then the agreement is that we pull out after a year and you guys run it. And that's what the Wastepreneur training. We want to create, like, upskill these guys and create like a revenue for them, and then they entrepreneurs, they carry on, you know.
So I want us to go a bit into the issues that you experience with local municipality and service delivery, and you being obviously in waste management. What are some of the issues that you do face when you put the two next to each other?
It's just that we can't keep up with it. Like
with
the
them,
lack of
or
service
just
the lack of service delivery, the amount of waste. There's millions of people all disposing their waste incorrectly, and we, like, even a team of 60 sounds big across South Africa. No,
it's tiny.
Like, it's not.
It's as much as we doing. It's not enough at the moment, because there's no municipality. At some point, need to start doing more. Like, as much as we can do, there's never going to be enough if they're not doing their part as well.
And I don't see that changing.
Yeah, but
maybe we don't know.
Well, what are we here for if we're not hoping that it's going to change? Because, like how many of my friends have left? I'm not ready to leave, so I've got to have hope.
I've also got a hope and a grind. I believe something's
going to change.
I got nowhere to go. Okay.
No, but I've been around the world, and I don't want to go anywhere else.
Why is that? Why?
Durban's the best place in the world. We're like, when you travel, it's nice to travel, but when you get home, you just feel at home. You know, I don't feel at home anywhere else. Yeah. So this is where I want to live. I'm going to do what I can do to improve things until municipality or government catch up. I don't know if they do.
So what are some of the things you would like to see change in terms of Litterboom, maybe then teaming up with the municipality to make
would
it better?
That ever be a possibility, or would that be an idea?
We're talking about hope.
There's parts of municipality departments that are trying, you know. There's people in the departments that are trying, and so we have got conversations, but it's just hard to change the cycle. Like, there's people there that want to make decisions, but they can't, because it's got to go through the chain, and then it fizzles out.
Yes.
So there are people that are trying, and like, we just went through this whole workshop a couple months ago, towards the end of last year, where there was city representatives and private sector representatives, all like in a workshop, like an ongoing workshop, trying to figure out in the catchments, like in the dirt, there's like 4 catchments where they kind of assign those areas to figure out what are the issues, not just waste issues, but environmental issues, like across the board, like what are the issues, who's doing what in each area. So that was really nice to get in a room with a whole bunch of people that are also trying to do something, because, like, obviously the work that we're doing, I'm in the back end of Durban and I'm alone with a couple guys, and I feel like I'm doing this thing alone. I'm like against this.
Must
Goliath,
be super overwhelming.
Yeah,
it should
be. That was encouraging to see people come into a room and like say, what are the issues? Who's doing what? How can we collaborate?
Are there any other companies like you in Durban?
Yeah, there's a couple in Durban that are doing kind of similar work to us, but we don't kind of.
You guys don't collaborate, or there's none of that.
Often.
No.
We
Why
don't.
is that though? Just is a matter.
There's politics in the non-profit game.
It's a money. It's a funding
funding
exercise. Like, but I get along with everyone. So I try to work with as much as possible. Like, because so we've got these teams on the beaches now, which are like kind of our permanent beach teams, and there's other beach teams, and we try to kind of work together as much as we can.
So in terms of the other companies that are also doing a similar thing to what Litterboom is, do you ever feel competition?
No.
Is there any competition?
There is, but I don't feel it. Like, there's enough rubbish out there that
you can't focus on competition. Like, it's pointless. It's a useless issue.
Yeah. Maybe other guys will say, no, there's no competition, but it seems like there is.
It's a strange
seem like there is?
It sounds.
That's what I want to get to.
It sounds like a church industry almost, you know,
Oh
like
Lord.
to bring it up. It really does, because I've been to so many churches and they're all NPOs, you know, I'm involved in some of them.
Yeah.
And they're all in contest with each other, and you're trying to spread Christianity here, you're trying to spread cleaning up beaches, but it's just like a constant liberal battle that's going on for no
It
personal
is like
reason.
sometimes they try to preach something different, but we're all trying to
Achieve the same goal.
Thing. Yes.
Yeah, man.
100%.
Yeah. So with your wife, kids, how are they involved in all of this? How do they take it? You not being at home so much, or you being busy 24/7?
Yeah, I mean, my wife's been super supportive, like just from surfing, like how much I used to travel.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And she wouldn't kind of try to deter me from traveling, or she was always super encouraging about it. And well, she kind of knew how sulky I was if I missed a surf. she'd rather have me gone than home sulking.
Just go surf. Just piss off.
No, but, I mean, she's super supportive.
That's dope.
And then especially now how kind of consuming Litterboom has been, she's still like, okay, on the weekend if there's waves, or in the morning, like, go surf, don't worry about the kids and this. But yeah, she's having kids is
Game changer.
It's a whole other animal. How many
don't
kids
scare
have you
me
just
yet.
got? One girl or two?
I've got two, bro.
Yeah. So
One is 8 and one is almost 4.
yeah. She's a year ahead of me. So I
still
got
want
a
to have kids,
5-year-old
guys.
and a
Don't
3-year-old.
Ah,
scare me yet.
I don't think you want kids, bro.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I mean, it's the best. I love being a dad.
You know, it's good to hear that you are supporting everything that you do, but I wanted to take it back to Litterboom. Do you have any surfers that are helping you out as well? Do you still
From
keep
your
in
old
contact?
contacts.
Yeah, with the
I
community.
think not really in terms of the work we're doing, but I mean the network that I've grown through surfing. We've leaned on that a bit. Like I mean, it's all about who you know, really.
Correct. Yeah.
So we've been able to open up quite a few kind of conversation lines, you know.
Why not just give Geordie a call and bro, like $1 million, nothing for the just say like, hey,
Matt
hey,
makes
dude.
it seem so easy to do.
It's like, hey, bro. I mean, like, what's $1 million to you? This is what we're trying to achieve.
I wish everyone could think like that.
Nah, but it's also weird. Sometimes like a lot
Yeah.
of people say, oh, they want to help. They make big commitments, and then you find them.
And then nothing
seven
comes
minutes and then
through.
You get crickets, yeah.
Oh,
But
we all know that.
I mean, yeah, I think surfing's introduced me to a lot of people over the years. So it's definitely helped.
So how is it dealing with people who then say they're going to do one thing and then they don't commit to it? Because obviously in the industry that you're in,
You got to plan
it
ahead.
does need you to keep to your word.
I don't get beat up about it at all.
So maybe you go surf,
Yeah,
take your stress out.
we all say we're going to do something and then don't do it. Maybe it's not at that capacity or that level, but
Yeah.
Is it a regular thing?
yeah, it happens quite regularly. Yeah, but you don't.
man.
I mean, maybe
It's
they
a
went,
numbers game. If to raise money, for
maybe
something.
they went back and spoke to someone else. Oh, it's not possible. So then they feel bad about what they've said to you, and they can't do it. So it doesn't.
Maybe they've got the vision to want to help, but
Yeah.
they just
Just
can't.
executing
They're just
it.
executing is a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's never really like someone that wants to give out their own pocket, because what we need funding wise, we need like a business to get behind it, for majority of the funding.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of commitments, and if it can't be done, I mean, it was a nice thought, and I know you're behind it, but yeah, we have a lot of conversations, and then the ones that come through, it's a very small percentage.
So, dude, I'm on your website now. I'm looking at like 500,000 kgs of plastic that you've collected already.
Yeah,
That's probably
no, that's
beyond that.
It's
now.
probably beyond that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where does this all go? I mean, does it get melted down? I mean, how is it, or does it just go straight to a dump site?
No,
or where does it all
the
go?
recycling is a revenue that turns back into the project. So
Okay.
just for that pure fact, like we try to recycle whatever we can, but also the landfills are like under huge pressure. How many landfills across Durban have failed and have shut down?
Correct.
There's only one landfill that is still operating, and that one is under huge strain. So just for that, there's another reason why we need to recycle as much as we can. But there's still a lot of like non-valuable material that we can't recycle. That it's like you take polystyrene, for instance. That is the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do anything with it, can
Yeah,
you?
like
yeah.
polystyrene, if you load a whole truckload, because they do recycle it, but you load a whole truckload, you maybe get 200 kgs, and then you get like 100 kg for it. Okay, you've got $200. My figures were probably not correct. Yeah, I'm just
sure, 100%.
It doesn't even pay for the transport.
Jeez. So that's our
it doesn't pay for the transport, like to go recycle that stuff. So why are we producing it if we cannot recycle it? It's that product is, if there was one thing that got banned and that got banned, the beaches would look a lot different. Because
the beaches are full of polystyrene.
Everything else is retrievable over time. Polystyrene just keeps on breaking down, keeps on getting damaged, and it's horrible stuff.
So, what could be the biggest setback for Litterboom? Because there's always going to be waste. We're in South Africa. There's always going to be water bodies like the oceans and the rivers. So that we can tell that it's not going to be a big thing, because it's not like the water's going to run out anytime soon. So what is the biggest setback that the organization could go through, in your perspective?
I think losing funding.
Funding is what makes it operate. So as long as we can start, carry on creating these positive opportunities and stories, that's attractive for business to get behind. It's like job employment and that kind of thing. Cleaning the environment's it's obviously a big factor, but creating opportunity, that's where we're trying to create opportunity through waste.
So it looks like you're going to be on the camera a lot more, spreading the word, sir. I'm just saying.
We're definitely going to help as much as we can. I see you run events here as well.
I mean, we do.
How often do you hold these events?
We do that once every 2 months. We do that just for public engagement and getting people involved, and it's nice to get them involved. But it's not a huge focus for us, because we focus on putting teams on the beaches.
Yes, yeah.
They work all day.
Does that not bring in any form of network holding these events?
For sure.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we do it. Nice to get people down, and a lot of businesses want to get their staff to come down and do a cleanup.
Yes, yeah.
So it's nice that we work with businesses like that and a little bit of team building and the rest of it.
Yeah, you could use it as you can almost market it as team building.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community that you're involved in.
Is there any reach out that you do within schools in KZN?
Well, that's the next element of our kind of phase approach.
Let's go.
Which is we just need to grow into that. This innovation side of it and growing of the teams is all hugely demanding. The education is kind of the third element of our phased approach, and we just need to be ready to kind of tackle it, because that's another whole animal. All the schools. We don't want to go. We actually want to create this kind of educators toolkit where we bring teachers in, teach them kind of how to.
So you want to implement these type of recycling systems in schools, so the kids grow up knowing this.
We want the teachers to be like the community champions in their schools, they have a bit of a toolkit to what to teach the kids, and then in those schools implement recycling programs. If we're not ready to do it, we need to put this thing together properly. Yeah.
So when you do think about it and getting teachers involved, I mean, we already know how teachers can be or how they are, because they go through a lot. They deal with all our kids, and their energy and all that. So do you think it's something that will have them gain interest into putting into the curriculum, like having them being taught pollution, recycling, waste management and all that?
Yeah, I think so. There are some programs like this kind of already running. And it will surprise you how many teachers will actually jump on it and want to really get involved
and stick to it.
Well,
that's the hope.
That's the main deal.
I don't have enough knowledge in that space right now to tell you anything that's factual.
So what I'm picking up out of this whole thing is that you actually need a lot more help than what you currently have to get this thing to the next level.
We're always working on these kind of proposals and there's a few big things on the card, so we're hoping one of them comes through and really gives us space to
take it to that next level.
Do exactly what we need to do.
Oh man, that's frustrating. I'd be so frustrated if I couldn't.
Yeah, you would be very frustrated. That is for sure. You would be. What are some of the other things you'd wish for waste management to be like, let's just stick to Durban for now, because South Africa is a bigger pool.
In terms of waste management, like what do we want municipalities
Like, what
to
can
do?
we do differently as people?
Well, we need to be a bit more smart about our kind of consumer decisions.
Yeah, but what do you buy when you go to the shop? What access do you have?
It's hard.
But it all starts
I'm
there.
saying that, and I can't avoid plastic.
You can't
I
avoid
can't
plastic.
it, like
It's impossible.
So
But I'll do the small things that I can. you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But-
obviously knowing that we can't avoid plastic or polystyrene because most of the fast food that we do
Yeah.
get.
But then how many people recycle? You got. I
See,
can't-
so
Yeah, exactly.
that's what
I
we
can't.
need to
I
get
don't.
to.
I mean, I don't
But-
recycle, but I don't litter
Yeah.
at all. I make sure it all goes to the trash, and then gets picked up, and I hope that it goes to.
Well, start recycling. But
Yeah, well, there we go.
But it's also another argument. Our
Correct.
recycling system is also crippled.
There we go.
There was a tender that went out and
Yes. Yeah.
didn't get fulfilled. It fizzled out after like a certain period. So that's also, yeah, it's an uphill battle.
So how is it dealing with all the inconsistencies? Because I'm hearing a lot of touch and go.
Yeah.
Because yes, business is going well, recycling is going well. Then you still have people that you need to deal with that are going to keep to the end of the bargain for only a certain amount of time. Like, let's say I'm going to restart recycling today, and then by next week I'm like, okay, I can't continue doing this. Maybe I've lost interest. So how can we curb that as the team now in studio?
To start recycling. Start
Because
small.
it seems like the issue is actually continuing with it, because we can all start,
Yeah.
but then making it a habit to
it's
continue to go back
just
to.
persisting of it. Once you are kind of got a little bit of a period behind you, you're like, okay, you don't want to lose that, you know. It's just kind of breaking through. People are just lazy to put any kind of like. You won't walk
come
to
home
your,
from work
you,
and
you
you
won't
just
walk
wanna-
to your recycling
yeah.
bin over there because your other bins are like, oh,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also the accessibility of it, because I know at the company that I used to be at, when we're in the office, we have our bins by our chair, and then all the recycling bins are either in the kitchen, which is like on second floor, and we're on fourth.
Yeah.
So it's always an issue of, I'm not going to go downstairs to recycle. Like, what more damage could I do?
I know. Well, this is why everything's so screwed, because no one really gives a shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest problem. How do you change the mindset? I
it
mean,
doesn't
because
affect me right now.
how is it
so,
affecting me?
This is
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we all just need to make a little bit more effort, but it's also like policy is not going against all this plastic production, you know. So there are guys fighting at that level, and it is slowly kind of going the other direction.
When you say other direction, which direction?
Like-
The right way,
No, there are
the
some
downside way?
there are some policies that are coming into play, and like kind of producer responsibilities. So the EPR is that extended producer responsibility.
Yes.
So the guys are starting to be like accountable to what they produce. They have to return the same amount of plastic or percentage of. So there are like regulations, and those were a couple of years ago. Those were non-existent. So there are things that are starting to kind of hold them accountable. So. But
Yeah,
they need
but
to ban
again-
polystyrene for
Yeah, they definitely need to do that. So it's literally all about just keeping up to something once you've started it. That's all I'm picking up, because, again, it's a touch and go.
Yeah,
you know?
well, yeah, people just need to make more of an effort, I think. A bit more conscious decisions. Kind of think about what the effect of your actions are.
How is it teaching that to your kids?
Oh, my kids are militant to that, eh? Teach them from a young age. That's all they.
And they get used to it.
It's like anything.
They know the recycling bin. They know what goes and what.
Yeah, kids aren't stupid, eh?
And
No,
like,
they're
Really
not.
not stupid.
They're
and
not
like,
at all.
sometimes it's a bit painful at the beach because they're like, "Oh, Dad, there's a piece of plastic."
Oh, yeah.
Because there's
yeah.
so much microplastic on the beach.
Yeah.
You're not going to go pick it up.
So now talking about
like,
this microplastic problem with this whole Durban scenario, is the water even safe to kind of be in Durban? I hear yes and no's from so many different people.
well, it's not the plastic that's going to affect us. It's the sewage in the water, and that's another whole conversation.
Oh,
Please don't
jeez.
change my mind
so
about going
it's-
to the ocean.
Well, this is the biggest thing because I always like contemplate like, oh, the water looks beautiful today, but
Yeah.
in the meantime, you know,
My rule of thumb is if the water looks clean,
it's
right.
clean.
I
Yeah,
know, I know after heavy rain, a lot of it flushes out,
yeah.
and depends which way the wind and kind
Swell's
of,
moving. Yeah.
yeah.
Is
Then-
there hopes of Litterboom also going into the oceans? Because I've only been hearing the riverbeds.
That's a
we've
huge project,
we've
yeah.
It is a huge project, yeah.
We got teams on the beaches. Mostly we deploy like temporary teams on the beaches after heavy rains, and then there'll be big build up. But now we've got these teams which we've called Backer Beach. So we're kind of encouraging local kind of companies and communities to get behind the funding of teams that look after their stretch of beach. So we've got teams at Amgani River, Beechwood, Glen Ashley, and Umhlanga. Just small teams of two. So we
Just
have-
2 guys on each beach cleaning up 24/7. That's what they do.
Yeah, 5 days a week.
And
That's a lot of work.
do you also look into maybe partnering with companies that do waste focused? Like, I know a company that does recycling for cans only.
Yeah.
Is there a possible thought of maybe partnering since you only focus on plastic?
What? With cans? Or
Yeah, like
Any other
metal on the beach,
recyclable
like
material?
any
well, on the
that's
beach,
recyclable.
that's just rusted and damaged by then. So we don't really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge amount there. Like, you don't find a lot of cans lying around because there's value to it. But with our buyback center, we're introducing aluminium there because so it can bring some more value to the buyback center. But majority of the stuff on the beach is pretty damaged, rusted.
Yeah, falling apart. Yeah, but dangerous.
I mean, plastic is the main focus for us.
And then what do you do with all the wood in that that's sitting on the beach and all the sticks? You can't just leave that there, I'm assuming, There's
Yeah.
no real damage.
Yeah, any organic waste we try separate from the plastic waste and like make little piles on the beach so it's kind of just
Neat.
it's a bit neat. Especially like in the Umhlanga estuary where we've been working.
Yeah.
That's like kind of helps with the rehabilitation of the dunes and the bird life and everything. So
that's it.
that we remove as little organic waste as possible. Only stuff that goes off, if it's like a big pile of polystyrene mixed up with sticks, we just bag that all.
So I've got a tricky one coming, right? We spoke about the status of surfing in South Africa and how it's kind of backing up a bit. Do you think the waste management in South Africa could also be an effect of the surfing going down? Like in terms of safety of the surfers going into that water?
No, I don't think so. Because even when the water quality was shocking in Durban, like over...
Yeah, you're talking a few months ago now.
Yeah. The second half of last year, it was constant readings of E. coli, high E. coli, and guys were still surfing.
Yeah,
I didn't
touch that water.
I didn't,
at
but there
all.
were guys
Yeah.
surfing.
Is it safe for them to carry on doing that?
No. Guys surfed right through it, and a lot of people were fine, but a lot of people got...
I don't know how these guys survived that because I mean, I saw some mates get some serious shit.
I didn't surf for a while.
So in terms of then the safety of surfers, what is it besides the water status is it that's focused on?
What, safety?
Yeah, we're just talking from like a dummy's perspective.
Besides not knowing how to swim.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, floaties.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty safe sport. Not a hell of a lot of injury. You might get hit by your fin
Or get sacked by your board.
Yeah, I mean, and we're lucky enough not to have high shark activity, and like we don't have dangerous sharks. They have reggae sharks.
Reggae sharks. What's up?
Yeah, we don't have aggressive sharks here in Durban. So I mean.
So,
That's
considering
pretty safe,
let's go back to your personal life now. I believe you're quite the bird enthusiast.
Yes, I am.
What on earth got you into birds? Because I couldn't find anything more boring to look at.
You-
Dude, I guess your mouth like, oh, look
Yeah,
at that
but you're a
bird.
man of the bush. You gotta
I'm
open
a
your
man of the
horizons,
bush, but
man.
I shoot animals, dude.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same for you, Matt. It's not.
I'll probably look at a bird and go, oh, I wonder if I can hit it from here.
No, I don't know. I was in the game reserve with my wife, and we were cruising. We weren't seeing many animals, so we started looking at the back of the
Yes, yeah.
Shishlui book, and there was the birds there, so we started ticking them off, and we were just kind of got hooked after that
No
trip.
way,
We were like
so-
so into it. I wanted to see like kind of what more species we could see, and it was kind of a bit of a game for us, but we really
And then it just became something.
It became a thing, and I'm like.
So you're one of those guys that go sit on Riverside with their binoculars. Like,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
No way.
So whenever I'm working on the beaches, I got my binos with me
Really?
all the time. Yeah.
You spot the birds.
Yeah, I'm like, I scan what birds they are because I'm always waiting to see that one rare bird and be the guy that reports it. There's
You're on a community now as well.
There's rare bird report like WhatsApp groups and emails and everything. Like there's a rare bird sighted.
Yeah.
Like and it's reported. People come from far and wide to see this.
Yeah, but it's actually really surprising how many people can actually show up for
it's
something
quite a few old
rare.
grannies and grandpas doing. That's why I'm asking.
No, Matt, we have youngins there.
Like originally. It was very much like an older person's
Very
game,
much so, it was.
But you should see how many young birders there are these days. It's
I've
definitely
actually seen it. This is what I'm saying. I saw this other time going to the beach close to the clubhouse in Durban North.
Yeah.
Who pops up with an I-8 to see a rare bird?
Yeah. And I've got my kids into it. They're super apt on it. My lachi's like calls and like his bird ID is actually pretty decent for 5 years.
So what is your favorite bird then?
Oh, jeez.
Can you pick one? No.
A chestnut vented tit babbler. No,
whatever. The only birds I'm looking have tits and a good ass.
I'm joking. That's just a funny name. I got a few, but they're favorites for me for specific reasons, you know, because like parts of my life that I did, like I proposed to my wife in Giant's Castle, Vulture Hide.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we went there to see the lammergauw or the bearded vulture, so that's a special bird. And then when we were on our honeymoon, we saw a few. We did a trip through Kruger for our honeymoon. That's like just on a birding trip. That's our,
just birding, not with the wildlife.
Yeah,
like for the birds.
Bro, like I swear, if there's a few cars on like a lion sighting, I'm like, oh, I'm over it. I go looking for birds. That's my game, man.
Yeah.
So your wife sounds like a very big picture of your life, like the biggest.
Yeah, she is. And I mean, it was nice that we kind of got into this hobby, passion, whatever, together. And that's been a big part of our relationship.
So in terms of your family functionality, I mean, you're busy doing this. What is your wife doing on a daily basis? I mean, your kids are at school. Yeah. What is she up to?
She's a stay-at-home mom. No,
nice. It sounds like my wife.
I'm joking. She's flipping cross-eyed. She's probably the breadwinner. Definitely the breadwinner. She's got it's a science extramural that she does at all the schools for foundation phase. So it's she's got a franchise here in Durban, owns the Durban franchise. So they do like fun science extramural like classes.
Okay.
And yeah, she's got a few teachers around Durban, does it at a bunch of schools.
So you found a smart one and a good looking one, eh?
Yeah.
Like a catch.
Is she funny?
Yeah,
man, you got the whole package.
And he's got the freedom to surf without getting burned out.
But I kind of towed her into that one because it was a
You will come.
No, when we were in Cape Town I would spend winters in Cape Town to obviously be there for the big wave game. Yeah. So I went with her and spent I think we did like 2 months there. And friends of mine, his wife had the franchise in Cape Town. And that's how she got introduced to it. She said, hey, they're actually looking for someone in Durban. Like you should apply for it or try to get a hold of it. And she did. And then I think it's been about 8 years now. Yeah.
8 years, dude.
That's like on some power couple.
But that's another thing that died during COVID. Extramurals at school.
Oh yes.
Say that.
Another hits. I know. I own a school. I know that took a huge knock. Yeah, it's a big one.
So what are your thoughts on your upcoming involvement in surfing, if any?
I think right now for me, Litterboom is just like kind of my main focus. And like I have to, as hard it is for me to come to the realization, I actually have to put surfing on the back burner just because like there's a swell in Cape Town next week and I'm like, fuck, I want to go.
Yeah.
But I've just got so much going on, important stuff that I need to just put my head down and hopefully it'll pay off and then I'll be able to get my trips in again.
And how does it feel putting something like surfing that you've done from the age of 6?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the only sport you do. So, I mean, that's like all your brain wants.
Yeah, it took me a lot of arguing in my head to come to that realization. But
how long were you sad for?
I'm still sad. Nah, but I mean, it's really important to me what I'm doing now. So I got to just put my head down and
Brilliant.
and then get into the next point.
Right. So we're just going to call it at the end there.
Okay.
Shot for coming in. Really
Sick.
appreciate it. DA, Geordie Smith, we're going to call you out. Bring your bucks, bro. We need some help here.
Bring that funding on.
We know what you earn.
Bring it on.
Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that follow button. Thanks for watching.
And share it as well. We need that.